What's up guys, I'm DK Wrestler.
And I'm MD Shady.
And in today's video, we're going to be making our Funko Pop and soda figure predictions for New York Comic Con 2023.
So let's check it out.
So how we're going to be doing this prediction video is that we are going to have 10 predictions for 10 different categories, in which those categories are ad icons, animation, Disney, games, Marvel and DC, movies, retro toys, Star Wars, television, and miscellaneous. And we're going to be going back and forth with these categories, starting off with my prediction and then MD's, and then let us know at the end of the video whose predictions you think were better. Alright, so the first category is ad icons, and the pop that I predicted here is Carmella Creeper for General Mills. And this one's interesting because she's a fairly new, I guess, ad icon. She goes along with like the different monster ad icons like Boo Berry, Frankenberry, Count Chocula, and a brand new cereal is coming out soon. I believe it's Caramel Apple, and I think that's what that's based off of with Carmella Creeper. So it'd be really cool to bring this ad icon as a pop and especially introduce it as a New York Comic Con exclusive.
The ad icon that I picked for my prediction for New York Comic Con 2023 is Sydney. And if you don't know who Sydney is, basically that is the ad icon for Dunkaroos. And I think this is awesome. I feel like Dunkaroos have just recently come back within the last few years. They were gone for a while, it seems, at least here in Canada. Sydney is an awesome character, and I feel like they could go with like the retro look to Sydney, or like the a little bit more modern look, even though that is very old now, where you have like the green hat, I believe, as well as like the green shirt. I think that would be really cool, and definitely a piece that I would want to add to my ad icons collection.
For animation, I have the Crimson Chin from Fairly Odd Parents as a pop. We kind of had this as a teaser with the new Fairly Odd Parents 3-pack, where obviously Timmy Turner is holding the Crimson Chin comic book. So I think at this point we should be getting Fairly Odd Parents Comic-Con exclusives, and I think that was a little bit of a teaser in my opinion, to where I think the Crimson Chin will be a full-on Funko Pop for New York Comic Con.
And I went with the Crimson Chin from Fairly Odd Parents. This one just makes so much sense. I mean, it's Comic Con. The Crimson Chin is a comic book character. Overall, I just think it's like one of the more popular characters. Everyone kind of knows the Crimson Chin. I feel like it just makes the most sense for the next Fairly Odd Parents pop to be the Crimson Chin.
For Disney, I have a 2-pack of Tuck and Roll from A Bug's Life. We've been seeing A Bug's Life pop at pretty much every Comic-Con where it's pretty much accessible for Disney Pops. At WonderCon, we had gotten the flick on Dandelion Pop Deluxe. A couple weeks back at San Diego Comic-Con, we had the Heimlich Butterfly Pop, both the regular and the Diamond Collection version that is a pop and bag bundle. And then as we're recording this video, there is no confirmation yet really if D23 is happening, but I feel like that would be the time where Hopper would be an exclusive pop. I feel like it would make sense here to have Tuck and Roll, considering that a few years back we did have the Alien remix of Tuck and Roll, so they do have the moldings down as terms to the body, but they would just have to switch the heads over from obviously Alien from Toy Story to what Tuck and Roll actually looks like in the movies to pop form.
I didn't really think too hard about this one. I didn't think of like something that might actually happen. I just went with something that I would like to see, and that is a soda of Hector Rivera from Coco. Really want to see this. Hector is an awesome character. So the common would be, of course, him and like the skeleton with the straw hat and all that. And then, of course, his human form would be the Chase. I think that that'd be really cool. I feel like it's one of those sodas where if you just get the common, you'd be okay with that, but the Chase would be really cool as well, because I don't think we've even seen any products of the human form.
For games, I have a Funko Pop of Super Knuckles from Sonic the Hedgehog. We already had the flocked version of Knuckles that was a TargetCon exclusive, and especially recently we had the reveal of the Super Shadow and regular Shadow 2-pack that's a glow-in-the-dark, announced at Fun Days that's going to be happening. So I feel like a new wave of Sonic the Hedgehog pops are coming down the pipeline, and I do feel there will be a Sonic the Hedgehog exclusive, and I think this definitely makes sense. Knuckles is a popular character, and especially because Knuckles is pink, it kind of fits the mold with the month of October when New York Comic Con exclusives were released, considering that is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
This is always a tough category. They've done a lot of the things that we want to see, but something that I think would be really awesome to see is a games cover for Cuphead. And I think that this would be a very clean cover. I mean, the cover of Cuphead is very basic. You have the yellow, it says Cuphead, and then you have kind of like the Looney Tunes circle, sort of, with Cuphead as well as Mugman coming out of it. And I think that this would be an opportunity where they could actually do like 2 miniature pops in here rather than just giving us Cuphead. We can actually get Cuphead as well as Mugman, and I think that that might be the first time for a games cover that we'd actually see 2 pops in one cover, and I think that that would be the best way to do it.
For Marvel and DC, I actually went the DC route, and this will be my first Funko Soda on the list, and it is Aquaman for the DCEU movies. Later this year will be the release of Aquaman 2, and I feel like this would be a little bit of promotion heading towards that movie. We've already had a singular Aquaman soda for the classic comic book version, but doing like a live action Aquaman for the movies definitely makes sense, and they've done this before with different movies.
Normally I go with Marvel for these things, but this time I went with Marvel. Yeah, I'm pretty much gonna always go with Marvel when it's split up like this. And the pop that I went with is actually a 3-pack. Lila, I believe is the way it's pronounced, as well as Teefs and Floor from Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Don't believe that we've seen pops for these guys yet, so it would be really cool to have them in a 3-pack. They don't even have to be like super huge because they are technically small animals. If they could do it flocked, I think that that would be amazing.
For the movies lineup, I have Mermaid Ken for the newly released Barbie movie. For those that might not know, and you guys probably would have seen in the photo, the Mermaid Ken in this movie is actually played by none other than Mr. You Can't See Me himself, John Cena. So I think that'd be really cool, considering that from what I heard, it's only a bit of a cameo appearance of this character, so that's really cool to do as a Comic-Con exclusive, and Funko's done that with different movies prior.
Originally, I was going to go with a pop from the Barbie movies. I didn't know what to go with, so I ended up going with basically its rival right now in the movies, and that is Oppenheimer. And I think this would be really cool. I have seen a couple different like customs or like custom artworks that people have done for an Oppenheimer Funko Pop, and I think that this would look pretty good. I think that there's definitely different versions that you could do, but I don't know the likeliness of Funko making this Funko Pop, but I do feel like if they did, a lot of people would want it, so it makes sense for a con.
For retro toys, I have a Funko Soda, and it is Rock'em Sock'em Robots. The reason I said just Rock'em Sock'em Robots is because there's lots of possibilities you could actually go down with this. They can easily do 2 separate sodas of Red Rocker and Blue Bomber, and then either that's singular sodas for like 3,000 to 5,000 pieces, or it's the same ones but with metallic chases. There's also the route of doing each of them with maybe it's a metallic finish, but maybe their head is partially up because of, obviously in the game, you gotta punch your opponent and then the head pops up and that's how you win the game. Or what they could do is call it Rock'em Sock'em Robot like I mentioned, but one is the Red Rocker and the other is the Blue Bomber. Whether the common is Red Rocker and the chase is Blue Bomber, or vice versa. I think that would be pretty decent.
I have thought of something that I've never really thought about before, Beanie Babies. And this could be very, very interesting because Funko sometimes is kind of acknowledged as like the new Beanie Baby. Some people think like, yeah, they're holding value now, but it's gonna drop and it's gonna go nowhere. I personally don't think that because it's all of these weird properties that there's so many different things. And what I've gone with for the New York Comic Con is the bear, but not only that, it is the bear that says I heart New York on the chest. I believe it was just like a white bear. I think that it would be very well done if it was just the normal white bear and it says I heart New York. It makes so much sense for New York Comic Con.
For Star Wars, I also have a Funko Soda listed, and it's of Ahsoka Tano for the Clone Wars. Now, as we are recording this and it's set to release, the Ahsoka Disney Plus series has yet to release on Disney Plus, but by the time New York Comic Con happens, the series would have started to release, and I think the series would be finishing up with the final episodes around New York Comic Con, so a little bit more promotion once again for that would make sense by having an Ahsoka Tano Funko Soda figure. I don't exactly know how the common and chase would be.
I went with a Funko Soda this time. I feel like there's been so many Star Wars Funko Pops that it's kind of hard to pick and choose new characters at this point. Jar Jar Binks. I think that a Jar Jar Binks soda would be so cool. Of course, the common, you can have Jar Jar Binks with his brown vest and his brown pants. You can have him maybe doing a funny expression. Doesn't really matter because the chase wouldn't be like a different expression or anything like that. It would actually be his attire from Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, where he is wearing more of like the robe type thing that he has on when he becomes like part of the Senate.
For the television lineup, I actually have a 10-inch blob Homer from The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. Now, last year we were supposed to get a huge wave of Treehouse of Horror pops, but of course because of different delays, it didn't end up releasing until basically right now. A lot of the pops are hitting up stores like the Itchy and Scratchy 2-pack that's exclusive to Hot Topic. So I feel like this year at New York Comic Con, we will get a Treehouse of Horror exclusive, considering that Halloween is right around the corner from New York Comic Con, so it only makes sense for a Treehouse of Horror pop to release then.
And of course, I had to go with The Simpsons, and this time around, I went with a 2-pack, and that 2-pack is of Lenny and Carl. I think that this would be great. It's one that I haven't really talked about on the channel before, and something that I'm surprised that we haven't seen from Funko at this point, because there's a ton of Simpsons Funko Pops at this point. There's a lot of different characters, but there's also a lot of repeat characters.
And for miscellaneous, I actually went a pretty decent route with this, and it's for the Pop Classics lineup, and it's of Jimi Hendrix. Now you're probably thinking, oh, why'd you predict another Jimi Hendrix pop? We have gotten so many Jimi Hendrix pops. But it would be really cool to do this as a Classics pop, since the very first Pop Rocks pop in the lineup was Jimi Hendrix, but under the name Purple Haze. So it'd be really cool to kind of bring that back as a Classics pop, and then this time you actually could label it as Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze, since back in the day, Funko could not have the license to actually call it Jimi Hendrix, so they called it by Purple Haze.
I went with the Pop Rocks lineup. I love me some Pop Rocks, and the artist that I chose for this is actually 50 Cent. I think that 50 Cent is a perfect one for this. We've never seen a 50 Cent Funko Pop before, which kind of blows my mind because we've seen so many different Tupacs, we've seen so many different Biggies. So why haven't we seen 50 Cent? I don't know. Maybe they're saving it for New York Comic Con, which would make perfect sense considering 50 Cent is from New York.
Anyways, guys, that's going to be the end of today's video. If you enjoyed our predictions video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think is going to happen for New York Comic Con 2023. Whose predictions did you like better between the both of us? And we hope to see you guys on another video. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
Peace in, peace out.